In today's lecture, we'll learn to calculate two functions, first and follow, and we'll also discuss their purpose and their significance. Let's first of all discuss first. First is calculated for any alpha, where alpha is the string of grammar symbols. Alpha may contain both variables as well as terminal symbol. Whatever string that I can derive from alpha, those strings are beginning with whatever terminal symbols, those terminal symbols are there in the first of alpha. If from alpha I am deriving epsilon, then epsilon is also there in the first of alpha. If I can write it in this manner. Let's say I start the derivation from alpha. In 0 or more step of the derivation, if I am able to derive the string small a beta, since this is beginning with terminal symbol small a, so small a will be there in the first of alpha. Small a will be there in the first of alpha. Let's now calculate the first for an example. The example is shown over here. So for this grammar, we'll calculate the first of various string. Let's first of all talk about the first of the string. Let's talk about the first of the string small a capital A. Whatever string that I will derive from small a capital A, those strings will always begin with small a. So that means first of small a capital A will contain small a. It will be small a. Let's now calculate the first of capital A. First of capital A means whatever strings that I can derive from capital A, those strings are beginning with which terminal symbol. That is what is the meaning of this. So those strings which are derivable from capital A, they will either begin from the first production or they will begin from the second production. The strings which are derivable from the first production, they will always begin with small a. And from the second production, I am deriving only single string, and that is epsilon. So that means first of capital A will be small a, and since epsilon is also derivable from capital A, so epsilon will also be part of this. Let's now calculate the first of capital B. First of capital B means those strings which are derivable from capital B, they are beginning with what terminal symbol? What terminal symbol? The strings which are derivable from capital B, they will be derived either from the first production or they will be derived from the second production. The strings which are derived from the first production, they will begin with small b, and the strings which are derivable from the second production, they will begin with small c. So that means first of capital B is small b comma small c. So this is the first of capital B. Let's now calculate the first of AB, the string first of AB. The question now is what strings are derivable from AB and they are beginning with what terminal symbol? So I can expand this capital A and obtain, for example, small a, capital A, and the capital B. And since this is beginning with a small a, so small a will be there in the first of AB. Then if I once again start the derivation from AB and I expand the capital A using the second production, capital A is expanded with epsilon, so it is I obtain capital B, and capital B is expanded using small b, capital B, so small b will be also there in the first of AB. Then let me erase this, and capital B is expanded to capital B, capital A is expanded with epsilon, so I obtain capital B, and capital B is expanded using the second production, I obtain a small c, so that means a small c will also be there in the first of capital AB. So first of AB will contain A comma B comma C. So those strings which are derivable from AB, those strings will either begin with small a, or they will begin with small b, or they will begin with small c. That is the significance of this. Let's now calculate the first of capital S. Let's now calculate the first of capital S. First of capital S will either be derived from first production, or it will be derived from the second production. Those strings which are derivable from the first production, they will begin with these terminal symbol, and those strings which are derivable from the second production, they will begin with a small d. So that means first of capital S will be first of AB, which is A, comma B, comma C, and followed by this include small d also because of the second production. So that is the first of capital S. So with this you would have got the idea as to what is the meaning of the first, and what is the purpose of this. We'll now understand the purpose of the first function. We'll discuss how does the first function help the parser. Now this slide I had discussed in the previous lecture. This is the string that we are parsing, and let us assume that we are doing the top-down parsing. So we are starting the derivation from the starting symbol capital S. During the parsing, during the derivation, let's say I obtain the sentential form small a, capital S, small d. What is the significance of this? What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is, if this is the sentential form, then on the basis of this I can break the given string. And how can I break the given string? The given string can be broken like this. It should begin with small a, followed by this there has to be component which is derivable from capital A, followed by this there has to be component which is derivable from capital S, and finally at the end there has to be small d. That is the significance of this. So when I look at the sentential form, on the basis of that I can say that the given string that we are parsing can be broken on the basis of the sentential form that we have obtained. Now if I ask you a question, the string which is derivable from capital A, this string will be beginning with what terminal symbol? So this string, since it is derivable from capital A, this string will begin with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of capital A. So this string will be beginning with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of capital A. Similarly, if I ask you the question, this is the component which is derivable from capital S, this will be beginning with what terminal symbol? This will be beginning with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of capital S. Now, parser is doing the top-down parsing, and in the top-down parsing there is a leftmost derivation taking place. So let's say the parser has reached at this step of the derivation, and in this step, which is the leftmost variable is capital A. So what will happen is that in order to go to the next step of the derivation, capital A has to be expanded. And let us assume that from capital A I have two production, capital A derives alpha and another production is capital A derives beta. So these are the two productions which are there from capital A. So that means if I want to expand the capital A in the next step of the derivation, either this capital A can be expanded using the first production, or it can be expanded using the second production. Now the question is, how does the parser know whether to use the first production for expanding capital A or use the second production for expanding capital A? So in order to take this decision, parser will look at the first symbol of the component which is derivable from capital A. If the first component if the first terminal symbol of the component which is derivable from capital A, if it is beginning with a first of alpha, then in that case it is derivable from the production capital A derives alpha. If it is beginning with first of beta, then in that case this component is derivable from the second production, that is capital A derives beta. So for this component to be derivable from the first production, first symbol has got to be first of alpha. and for this component to be derivable from the second production, capital A derives beta, the first symbol has got to be first of beta. So that means when I calculate the first helps the parser in order to perform the derivation and in order to know which production to use for expanding a variable during the course of the derivation. So that is the significance and the meaning and the purpose of the first function. Let me now give you algorithm for calculating the first. In the algorithm, we are considering three scenarios. We are looking at the calculation of the first of the single terminal symbol. We are looking at the calculation of first of the single variable, and we are looking at the calculation of first of the string alpha, where alpha may contain both the variable as well as terminal symbol. First of any terminal symbol is that terminal symbol. So first of small a is small a. Let's now look at the second scenario, calculating the first of the single variable capital A. So we are calculating the first of capital A. In order to calculate the first of variable capital A, we'll look at the productions of the variable capital A. So we'll pick up each production one by one. So we'll take first production and we'll calculate first of capital A on the basis of that. We'll take the second production and we'll calculate the first of capital A on the basis of that production. So this way we'll keep doing. So let us say that from the variable capital A, I have the production capital A derives y1, y2 and so on up to yk. Then in order to calculate the first on the basis of this production, what we'll do is any string which is derivable from this production will begin with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of y1. I'll repeat this. Any string which is derivable from this production will begin with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of y1 except for epsilon. So that means I can say that whatever symbols which are there in the first of y1 minus epsilon, they will be added to the first of capital A. Any string which is derivable from this production, it will begin with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of y1 except epsilon. So those symbols which are there in the first of y1 minus epsilon, they will be added to the first of capital A. If epsilon is also there in the first of y1, let's try to understand what is the significance of this. If epsilon is there in the first of y1, then that means from y1 I am deriving epsilon. So during the course of derivation, y1 may get reduced to epsilon, and because of that y2 will be coming at the beginning. Then in that case, first of y2 will be added to the first of capital A. So if first of y1 is containing epsilon, then in that case whatever symbols which are there in the first of y2 minus epsilon, they will be added to the first of capital A. Similarly, if first of y2 is containing epsilon, then in that case what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is during the course of the derivation, y1 may get reduced to epsilon, y2 may get reduced to epsilon. Then in that case what will come at the beginning? y3 will come at the beginning. Then I will be adding first of y3, then I'll be adding first of y3 minus epsilon to the capital A. This way I'll keep doing till I reach the last symbol which is yk. And if all the y's, y1, y2 and so on up to yk, they are deriving epsilon, then in that case epsilon will also be added to the first of capital A. I'll repeat this. If all the y's are deriving epsilon, so that means first of y1 as well as first of y2 as well as first of y3 as well as first of yk, they are containing epsilon, so all of them are deriving epsilon. So during the course of the derivation all of them may get reduced to epsilon, so that means we are deriving epsilon from the capital A. So in that case, I'll be adding epsilon to the capital A. So this is how I'll calculate the first on the basis of this production. In the similar way, I'll pick up the second production, calculate the first on the basis of the second production too. Pick up the third production, calculate the first on the basis of the third production too, and so on. So we have considered the second scenario as to how to calculate the first of the single variable. Let us now calculate the first of any string alpha. Alpha may contain the terminal symbol as well as it may contain the variable. So we are looking at the calculation of the first of x1, x2 and so on up to xn, where each of the x may either be a terminal or it may be a variable symbol. Now the calculation of this is similar to the calculation of first in this scenario. So we are trying to calculate the first of the given string x1, x2 and so on. So I can say that first any string which is derivable from this will begin with the terminal symbol which is there in the first of x1. So first of this will be I'll be adding whatever symbols which are there in the first of x1 minus epsilon to the first of the given string. If the first of x1 is containing epsilon, what is the significance of this? The significance of this is that during the course of the derivation, x1 may get reduced to epsilon, and in that case this string will become equivalent to x2, x3 and so on up to xn, and x2 will be coming at the beginning. So then in this case, I'll be adding first of x2 minus epsilon to the first of given string. And if the first of x2 is also containing epsilon, what is the significance of this? The significance of this is first of x1 is containing epsilon, first of x2 is containing epsilon. So during the course of the derivation, both of them may get reduced to epsilon, and then what will be coming at the beginning? At the beginning, I'll obtain x3. So then I will be adding first of x3. I'll be adding first of x3 minus epsilon to the first of the given string. So the same thing that we did in this case, the same logic. And if the first of all the x's, first of x1, first of x2, first of x3 and so on up to first of xn, if all of them are containing epsilon, then in that case epsilon will also be added to the first of the given string. So this is how I'll calculate the first of the given string, and this is the algorithm for calculating the first of any string. Let's now discuss the second function, which is follow. Follow is calculated for some variable. So let us say that we are calculating the follow of the variable capital A. Follow of capital A will be the set of terminals that can appear immediately after A in some sentential form. So let us say from the starting symbol capital S, if we are deriving the string in 0 or more step of the derivation, alpha, capital A, small a, beta. In this sentential form, small a is immediately after capital A, so small a will be there in the follow of capital A. If in some sentential form, capital A is the rightmost symbol, then dollar will also be added to the follow of capital A. Now let us understand this with the help of an example, and we have taken this grammar, and for this grammar we'll calculate the follow of the variable capital A and we'll calculate the follow of the variable capital B. So for this grammar we'll calculate the follow of the variable capital A and we'll calculate the follow of the variable capital B. And we are starting the derivation from the starting symbol capital S, and we expand it using the first production and obtain the sentential form capital A small d. If I look at this sentential form, small d is immediately after capital A. So small d is following capital A, and a small d will be there in the follow of capital A. So small d will be added to the follow of capital A. Let's once again start the derivation from capital S, and I expand it using the second production and obtain the string capital A, capital B, capital B. Then in the next step of the derivation, I expand the capital B using the first production and obtain the sentential form capital A, small b, capital B, capital B. And if I look at this sentential form, small b is immediately after capital A, so small b will be added to the follow of capital A. So what I do is I add small b to the follow of capital A. If you look at this sentential form, in this sentential form, capital B is the rightmost symbol, and I have told you that if in the sentential form capital A is the rightmost symbol, we add dollar to the follow of that variable. So capital B is the rightmost symbol in this sentential form, so dollar will be added to the follow of capital B. So we add dollar to the follow of capital B. Let's once again start the derivation from capital S, and I expand it using the second production. I obtain the sentential form capital A, capital B, capital B, and then I expand the last capital B using the first production, and I obtain this sentential form. And in this sentential form, small b is following capital B, so small b will be there in the follow of capital B. So I add small b to the follow of capital B. If I start the derivation from capital S, in the first step of the derivation, I obtain the sentential form capital A, capital B, capital B. I expand the B using the second production. I replace it with epsilon, and I obtain the sentential form capital A, capital B. I expand the capital B using epsilon, and I obtain the sentential form capital A. And if you look at this sentential form, capital A is the rightmost symbol, so dollar will be added to the follow of capital A. So I add dollar to the follow of capital A. So this example would have given you the idea as to what is the meaning of follow, and what is the purpose and what is the meaning of the follow. How does the follow help in parsing? What is the significance and purpose of the follow? Let us now discuss this. Let's say that we start the derivation from starting symbol capital S, and in 0 or more step of the derivation, I obtain the sentential form capital A, small a, alpha. And let's assume that this is the string that we are parsing. What is the significance of this? The significance of this is I can break this string on the basis of this sentential form. How can I break it? I can break the string like this. First of all, there will be a component which is derivable from capital A, followed by this there will be a small a, and followed by this there will be a component which is derivable from alpha. And let's say from capital A I have three production. Capital A derives alpha, capital A derives beta, and capital A derives epsilon. So these are the three production that I have from the variable capital A. Question now is, if I look at this sentential form, capital A is the leftmost variable, so in the top-down parsing I'll be using this variable for expansion. Question now is, which production of capital A should I use for expanding the capital A? Whether to use the first one, capital A derives alpha, or to use the second one, or to use the third one. If this component has got to be derivable from the first production, this component should begin with the symbol which is there in the first of alpha. So that means if the next input symbol is the symbol which is there in the first of alpha, I'll use the first production in order to expand the capital A. Similarly, for this component to be derivable from beta, this component should begin with the symbol which is there in the first of beta. So that means I look at the next input symbol. If it is first of beta, then in that case I'll use the second production for expanding the capital A. Question now is, when should I use the third production for expanding the capital A? When I expand the capital A using the third production, capital A will get eliminated and a small a will be coming at the first position. So when I replace capital A with epsilon, what will be the next input symbol? Next input symbol will be the small a, and a small a is a symbol which is following capital A in this sentential form. So that means a small a is there in the follow of capital A. So that means I can expand capital A with the third production, replace it with epsilon, provided that the next input symbol is a symbol which is there in the follow of capital A. So that is how follow helps in taking the parsing decision. Let's take an example. So this is the grammar that we have. Capital S derives AD, and from capital A I have three production. Capital A derives AA, capital A derives B, and capital A derives epsilon. And the string that we are parsing is, for example, this. I start the derivation from capital S. I expand it using the only production, so there is no choice available. I obtain the sentential form capital A small d. Question now is, which production should I use for expanding the capital A? If I use the first production, next input symbol has got to be small a, because first of this is small a. But the next input symbol is not a small a. If I use this production, next input symbol has got to be small b, but next input symbol is not small b. For this to use, the next input symbol has got to be the symbol which is there in the follow of capital A. Follow of capital A is containing a small d. So that means next input symbol is a small d. So I can use the third production for expanding the capital A. I replace it with epsilon and I obtain the given string, that is a small d. So this would have made the purpose and the significance of the follow clear to you. Let's now learn how to calculate the follow. Given a grammar, I would like to calculate the follow of various variable. Let us now discuss this. First of all, I'll be placing dollar in the follow of the starting symbol. So if capital S is the starting symbol, I will add dollar in the follow of capital S. Now I'll take each production of the grammar one by one and calculate follow on the basis of that production. So let us say that I have picked up the production capital A derives alpha B beta, and let us now calculate follow on the basis of this production. Strings which are derivable from beta, they begin with the terminal symbol first of beta, and if I ask you question, which terminal symbol can come immediately after capital B? Terminal symbol which are there in the first of beta except epsilon can come immediately after capital B. So that means all those terminal symbols which are there in the first of beta except epsilon will be added to the follow of capital B. Let us now apply this rule to this grammar and calculate follow on the basis of this rule. First of all, I'll apply this rule to this production. Here beta is a small d. First of a small d is a small d itself. So that means a small d will be added to the follow of capital A. So small d has been added to the follow of capital A. Now we'll apply this rule to the second production, and let's consider this to be beta. Now symbols which are there in the first of beta except epsilon, they will be added to the follow of capital A. First of BB is containing B and epsilon, so except epsilon, B will be added to the follow of capital A. So B also has been added to the follow of capital A. Now let us consider, let me erase this. Let's consider this to be beta. Now I can say that symbols which are there in the first of capital B, they will be added to the follow of capital B except epsilon. First of capital B is containing B and epsilon. So except epsilon, small b will be added to the follow of capital B. So small b has been added to the follow of capital B. So this is how this rule has been applied to this grammar. So you can apply this rule in order to calculate the follow of the variable. Now in the next slide, we'll discuss one more rule using which you can apply and using which you can calculate the follow of the variable. Let's now learn third rule for calculating the follow. Let us say that we have production capital A derives alpha capital B, or I have production capital A derives alpha B beta, where first of beta is containing epsilon. So that means beta is deriving epsilon. Then in that case, I'll be placing everything which is there in the follow of capital A to the follow of capital B. What is the logic behind this? What is the idea behind this? Let us try to understand this. If I start the derivation from capital S, and let us say in 0 or more step of the derivation, if I obtain the sentential form alpha dash capital A small a beta, what can I say on the basis of the sentential form? I can say that small a is there in the follow of capital A. Now this capital A can be expanded using this production. So when I expand this capital A using this production, I obtain the sentential form alpha dash alpha capital B small a beta. Now what can I say about this sentential form? I can say that small a is following capital B, so small a will be there in the follow of capital B. So that means all those symbols which are there in the follow of capital A, they will also be there in the follow of capital B. So if I have a situation like this, or I have a situation like this where beta is deriving epsilon, then in that case all the symbols which are there in the follow of capital A, they will be added to the follow of capital B. Let us now apply this third rule to the grammar that we had taken in the previous slide. Capital S is the starting symbol, so the follow of capital S will contain dollar. And now when I apply third rule to the second production of capital S, I can say that all the symbols which are there in the follow of capital S, they will also be added to the follow of capital B. Follow of capital S is containing dollar, so dollar will be added to the follow of capital B, so the dollar has been added to the follow of capital B. Now first of BB is containing epsilon, B is deriving epsilon, and this B is also deriving epsilon. So first of BB is containing epsilon. So that means all the symbols which are there in the follow of capital S, they will also be added to the follow of capital A. So dollar also has been added to the follow of capital A. So that is how this rule has been applied to the grammar that we were discussing. Now we'll take the example of a grammar which is accepting arithmetic expression, and we'll calculate first and follow of various variables which are there in that grammar. If you recall, I gave you a grammar for arithmetic expression, and the grammar was capital E derives E plus T, capital E derives T, capital T derives T star F, capital T derives F, capital F derives within bracket capital E, and capital F derives identifier. This is the grammar that I gave you in previous class. This grammar is unambiguous grammar accepting arithmetic expression. But the problem with this grammar is it is left recursive. So we eliminated left recursion from this grammar and we obtained this grammar. And we'll calculate first and follow of various variables which are there in this grammar. So let's do that. First of all, we'll calculate the first of capital F. When I look at this production, I can say that first of capital F will contain left parenthesis. It is the right hand side is beginning with the terminal symbol left parenthesis. And based on this production, I can say that first of capital F will contain identifier. So first of capital F is containing left parenthesis and identifier. Now we take another variable, and the variable that we take now is T dash. When I look at this production, I can say that first of T dash will contain star, and when I look at this production, I can say that first of T dash will contain epsilon. So first of T dash is containing a star and epsilon. So we have calculated the first of T dash, it is containing a star and epsilon. Let us now calculate the first of E dash. Based on this production, I can say that first of E dash will contain plus, and based on this production, I can say that first of E dash will contain epsilon. So first of E dash is containing plus and it is containing epsilon. So we have calculated the first of E dash. Let's now calculate the first of capital T. Based on this production, I can say that first of capital T will contain those symbols which are there in the first of capital F. If first of capital F is containing epsilon, then those symbols which are there in first of T dash, they will also be included. But when I look at the first of capital F, it is not containing epsilon. So that means first of capital T will contain those symbols which are there in the first of capital F. First of capital F is containing left parenthesis and identifier. So first of capital T is containing left parenthesis and identifier. So we have calculated first of capital T also. Let's now calculate the first of capital E. From this, I can say that first of capital E will contain those symbols which are there in the first of capital T. And if first of capital T is containing epsilon, then those symbols which are there in the first of E dash, they will also be included. When I look at first of T, it is not containing epsilon. So first of capital E will contain those symbols which are there in first of capital T. First of capital T is containing left parenthesis and identifier. So first of capital E is containing left parenthesis and identifier. So we have calculated first of capital E also. Let's now calculate the follow of various variable. We begin with the starting symbol capital E. If you recall the rule number 1 in the calculation of the follow, it says that dollar will be placed in the follow of the starting symbol. Capital E is the starting symbol, so dollar will be placed in the follow of capital E. And when I look at this production, right parenthesis is following capital E, so right parenthesis will also be there in the follow of E. So follow of capital E is containing right parenthesis and dollar. So we have obtained this and we have obtained this. Now once again let us look at this production, and as per the rule number 3 of the calculation of the follow, I can say that those symbols which are there in the follow of E, they will also be added to the follow of E dash. Follow of E is containing right parenthesis and dollar, so right parenthesis and dollar will also be there in the follow of E dash. So we have obtained this as well as we have obtained this. Now let's calculate the follow of capital T dash. When I look at this production, I can say that those symbols which are there in first of T dash except epsilon, they will be there in the follow of capital F. First of T dash is containing a star, so follow of capital F will contain a star. So follow of capital F is containing a star. So we have obtained this. Now let's look at this production. Let's look at this production. Those symbols which are there in the first of E dash, they will be there in the follow of T. First of E dash is containing plus and epsilon. Epsilon will be excluded. So plus will be there in the follow of T. So plus is added to the follow of T. Plus is added to the follow of T. Once again, let us examine this production. E dash is deriving epsilon. First of E dash is containing epsilon. So those symbols which are there in the follow of E dash, they will also be added to the follow of T. Follow of E dash is containing right parenthesis and dollar. So follow of T will also contain right parenthesis and dollar. So we have obtained this and we have obtained this. Let's look at now this production. I can say that those symbols which are there in the follow of T, they will also be there in the follow of T dash. Follow of T is containing plus right parenthesis and dollar. So follow of T dash will also contain plus right parenthesis and dollar. So we have obtained this and we have obtained this and we have obtained this. Let's look at this production. First of T dash is containing epsilon. So those symbols which are there in the follow of T dash, they will also be added to the follow of F. Follow of T dash is containing plus right parenthesis and dollar. So these symbols will also be added to the follow of F. So we add plus right parenthesis and dollar to the follow of F. So we have calculated, this is how we have calculated the follow of various variables.